While Donald Trump is globetrotting, making new deals all over the planet, individually with each individual nation, trade relations are falling apart in Canada, and the Canadian people are looking to blame this guy. Nope, not this guy. No, not this guy. That's a real photo, by the way. That's not AI. No, now they want to blame this guy, the U.S. ambassador to Canada. And oh boy, are they clutching their pearls. Ladies and gents, welcome back. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. And if you're new here, my name is Clyde. Welcome to the channel. The subscribe button is just down below. Go on and hit that. And as well, if you've been around for a while, make sure that you're still subscribed. Apparently, YouTube's been unsubscribing people to the channel. So make sure that that's still a thing. Let's get into the story today. Now, of course, this is the guy who's taking all the blame right now. Why? Well, apparently he went on an explicit tirade. This is what we're hearing. U.S. ambassador profanely scolds Ontario representative over ad. Well, we all know what ad we're talking about. It's all over the news by this point. The ad that Doug Ford put out at the behest, or at least with the knowledge of Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, putting out this ad that it was offensive to Americans, the fact that it was propaganda and it was put out there for the purposes of propaganda. Now they're clutching their pearls over this one. Apparently expletives were said. An American ambassador to Canada delivered an expletive-filled address addressing down to Ontario's representative in Washington during a prestigious event in Ottawa on Monday, according to two sources. I love the way this is always worded. We have two people that told us this. We don't have any proof. We're just gonna roll with that, and this will make a lot more sense in just a bit. So stick around, because this is where it gets really humorous. This is Pete Hoekstra. Trump's ambassador to Canada was seen tearing a strip off David Patterson, Ontario's representative in DC. It's been described as, by those who witnessed it, as a heated exchange, a one-way conversation, and yelling with plenty of F-bombs. This is the reports, and this is how it's going. Now, a little backgrounder on what the result of that ad was. The result of the ad was, well, obviously Americans being pissed off for good reason, because what it was an ad with Ronald Reagan's voice being taken out of context to say something that he wasn't actually saying in his original speech. He was actually talking about the use of tariffs and how the president should have the power to use tariffs against countries that are acting terribly when it comes to trade. Now, of course, Donald Trump has brought this up about Canada, the dairy lobby, a number of other things, the Commission for Telecommunications Companies, banking not being allowed, like American banks not being allowed to come into Canada and operate. This has been a big issue for the Trump administration. So when that happens, he said, well, okay, well, we're going to put trade restrictions on you back in place as a retaliatory effort. Now, bring on the propaganda that's been happening in Canada all over the place. Fast forward, they put out this ad, and this is the result. This is, of course, Scott Bessent, who's there to talk about trade between Canada and the United States, and well, this was his reaction to it on the news.
Kristen, let's think about this. This is a kind of propaganda against U.S. citizens. You know, it's psyops. Why would the government of Ontario? I'm told that they have spent or were planning to spend up to $75 million on these ads to come across the U.S. border. So what was the purpose of that other than to sway public opinion? And it's some kind of propaganda that the premier of Ontario unilaterally launched.
Absolutely, and it was designed to, sway public opinion while an election is coming up, while there's an important decision being made in the Supreme Court. Yes, it's propaganda. It's insidious. It's not something that a friendly neighboring country should be doing within the confines, within the borders of the United States of America. Now, of course, Brian Lilly it's a little touch of the TDS. Amazing. Even the right-leaning commentators in Canada, TDS all over the place. It's crazy. Brian Lilly say, yelling F-bombs, threats, and breakdown of Canada-U.S. relations. The relationship has hit a sour patch and is going to be hard to come back from, with this story of the U.S. ambassador having a freak out. Now, even in this, he put in another video in the thing talking about Doug Ford's reaction to, the reaction from the U.S. on the ad.
If that was the most successful ad in North American history, what would failure look like?
Yeah, I'll tell
question.
you, Brian, that we had over 1 billion impressions around the world, and what we did, we generated a conversation that wasn't happening in the U.S. Now, every single local media, every large media, medium-sized media in the U.S. is talking about it. So
yes, you gave the left exactly what they wanted, and the right in news media is talking about for what it is. It's propaganda. It's a piece of propaganda that you introduced, and of course, it generated a lot of clicks because it was a piece of propaganda that you introduced into the United States. Pete Hoekstra, as Donald Trump's ambassador to Canada, was seen tearing a strip off David Patterson's Ontario representative. Same lines as you saw from the Globe and Mail. Now, last time a rumor like this was going around that Pete Hoekstra had actually torn a strip off of somebody, the video actually finally surfaced. This was back from September when they had similar claims of him doing this. This was the actual exchange. Finally, the video has emerged of the tense exchange between the host of the Canadian Global Affairs Institute in Banff and the U.S. ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra. Let's hear the scathing language that was used. If you've got your kids in the room, earmuffs, it's tremendous.
Well, free clearance was brought in by Eisenhower, and it's worked really well. But Canadians go to the States, maybe not as many as did, a year and a half ago or half a year ago, but we're still going an awful lot. We're your biggest source of tourism. If you end pre-clearance, doesn't that cut off your nose to spite your face?
Nobody said we were ending pre-clearance.
Well,
Don't put words in my mouth.
No, I'm just asking because I heard you say we have to look at it.
These are all business people.
Yeah.
All right? If you have a business segment that is down 20 to 25%, all right?
And you wonder why.
What's that?
But you know why.
That was the exchange. Oh, he just exclaims in frustration of why do you keep taking me out of context? It's the famous Canadian way of, well, you almost said something, so that's what you meant. That's not how it works in Canada, or that's not how it works in the world. That's not how it works at all, period. Now, Pete has been out there saying a number of things, and he's scolded Canada pretty harshly, but not with the expletives or whatever is being reported that everyone's clutching their pearls about. Why not listen to what he actually has to say? Here's Pete Hoekstra on the Jasmine Lane podcast. If Canada expands its exports, now you're shipping through BC. This is him congratulating Canada on doing something to go around the United States. This is amazing.
If Canada can expand its exports, you're now shipping through British Columbia, and you're shipping to the Asia Pacific region, and so that's great. Okay, that's more money coming to Canada, and that potentially is money that's going to be spent in Canada. It's also potentially money that's going to be spent in America. Mm-hmm. We love it.
Hold on. You love that Canada is not going to go through the United States and is going to do trade on their own? Why would they be so happy for them? Perhaps this derangement that Canadians have with the United States is a little bit untenable. It's not warranted. It's absolutely not warranted. The United States just wants to have a good trade deal with every other country. Unfortunately, Canada is the only one that can't seem to get this. Every other country has got this idea. Even China is coming back to the table. But here's what he said previous, which kind of follows exactly with this. Elbows Up was an anti-American campaign. It was disappointing.
That was probably, the most unexpected. And we're going to get right into the meat of the stuff that we want to talk about today, okay? I'm disappointed that I came to Canada, a Canada that it is very, very difficult to find Canadians who are passionate about the American-Canadian relationship, okay? You ran a campaign where, it was anti-American.
Yes, it
Elbows
was.
up, Me Too. It was an anti-American campaign. That has continued. That's disappointing. I talked to a lot of business people. They are passionate about the relationship because they recognize rebuilding ecosystems and rebuilding the kind of economic relationships that we have. As some people talk about, we'll go other places. It's kind of like, that's hard. Plus, this one works pretty well.
Yeah, it does work pretty well. It could work pretty well, but the Canadians are freaking out, and this is the result of it. And as he was alluding to, a lot of business people, they're looking at it like, well, we want to do business. This is not a good environment. So what do a lot of business people do? They're packing up and they're bringing their businesses to the United States. Exactly what was alluded to. But what's the response here in Canada? The U.S. ambassador needs to be fired ASAP. Remove Pete Hoekstra as a U.S. ambassador to Canada. Let's send Pete packing. Sign the petition. Why? Because he's just saying words that are true. This is the reality of the situation. Get over it. Yeah, a lot of Canadians just need to get over the fact that Donald Trump's president, the new trade deals around the world are changing, and the United States is now becoming a country that you have to pay an entry fee to get your products into that market. That's just the way it's going to be. Get over it. And this is the reality. Canada burned the bridges. U.S. ambassador doubts tariff deal feasible before the new year. We're not even going to come to the table. This is from CTV News.
I don't know how we get this back on track.
That comment after Ambassador Pete Hoekstra had a conversation with Donald Trump on Saturday, the same day the U.S. president threatened an additional 10% tariff on Canadian products.
He didn't give me any, clear indication or any indication at all that he was in any hurry to get back to the negotiating table and get an agreement.
While criticizing how Canadian media framed the recent breakdown of trade talks, the ambassador said Ontario's anti-tariff ad and comments by other premiers was akin to meddling in American affairs.
Doug Ford and Eby were starting to play in domestic American politics, potentially affecting a Supreme Court decision, potentially affecting politics, an election that is 8 days out, and for sure having an impact in the midterm elections.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And it's a big deal to the Americans that the Canadians would be coming in and meddling in elections. I know it's not so much of a big deal for Canadians, because we all know that there was 11 MPs that were involved with Chinese interference, and they really got to the bottom of that one, didn't they? I don't know. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about all this stuff. If you want to help support the channel, get you over there, get you one of these mugs or some of the t-shirts that we have available on the website. Get on down there. The link is in the description down below. Let's hear what you have to say in the comments down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.